welcome to this episode of Cardinal Film Fights. I'm your host, judge, and moderator, Mark Rollins. Today we have three contestants. We always have three contestants, but I'm going to act like I'm surprised by it anyway, even though we have the same amount of contestants. I'm going to let them introduce themselves. They're going to give their name, their majors and minors, and a fun fact about themselves, as well as what year they are in school. So we'll start on this end.
Okay, hi, my name is Ben, and my major is telecommunications, and I am a sophomore. But I am sort of a nerd when it comes to films.
Ooh, a cinephile, I believe, is the Greek. It's Greek. And we'll move right over.
Hi, I am Tiara. I'm a sophomore. I'm a TCOM major and a history minor and also a film screenwriting minor. A fun fact about me. Ooh. Halloween is my favorite holiday.
And it is a wonderful holiday, especially for theater majors. I myself am a theater major, and we just live for any opportunity to dress up like somebody else. And we'll move right along.
Yeah, I'm Dean. I'm a senior, video production major, screenwriting minor, and I am thrilled that we are a month into the great holiday of Halloween-mas. So, you know, that's the great holiday that goes from October 1st to January 1st. And, yeah, it's going strong. It's going good. I don't know what I'm dressing as for Halloween.
And, you know, I get that. And you're very right. How give a wingness.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I feel like the pilgrim is the perfect emblem of all three of those holidays, because they have the scary thing with like the witch trials, you know, but then they have the whole Thanksgiving thing, but then they have the whole Christian like Christmas thing. So they're just really a 3-for-1 there. The pilgrim is just the emblem of these entire 3 months. So we're going to get right into it. So here's the format in case you're new to our show. We're going to start off with each contestant, like there's no prize money. I am sorry about that.
I'm sorry.
Each fighter, I gotta go. And they're all gone. No. Each fighter is going to give a 60-second introduction as to why they chose their answer and like a little background about it. Then we'll go into a 5-minute form in which they build each other build themselves up, tear each other down. I mean, cooperation would be kind of... No, that would be boring. Don't cooperate. They tear each other down, build their own cases up, which is then concluded with a 30-second wrap-up of all their argument points, and then I make a decision on who won. So for today's week's, I started out saying this week's, and then I switched to today's, and then I went back to this week's. For today's question, we are asking who is the best TV family. For our introductions, we'll start with Dean, then go to Tiara, and then finally Ben. And the floor is yours.
Oh, do I just go whenever?
Yes, that is your timer.
Oh, great.
Right there.
I think that when people think of TV families, there's only one family that comes to everybody's mind. It's The Simpsons. They're iconic. They are like what most people would think of when you say, hey, what's like, you know, when you go to watch a family TV show, what do you think about? It's The Simpsons. They are the nuclear family. The dad works in a nuclear plant, connections, and, you know, they've been around longer than almost any other TV show. Like, I think it's one of the longest running shows of all time. Don't quote me on that. I didn't research this. So, yeah, Simpsons, they're great.
Okay. We'll go to Tiara now.
I chose the Stark family from Game of Thrones, and I think they sort of just exemplify what it means to just have a really good, strong familial connection, because they sort of just interact with each other like family. Like the younger siblings have like sibling rivalries with each other, and the dad is sort of like this... Well, half the family's dead now, so sorry for spoilers. But when they were all alive, they sort of had really great interactions with each other, and they were very sort of the ideal family in a world like Westeros in Game of Thrones and stuff. And Just because, I don't know, half of them are gone now, they do definitely have bonds that sort of keep them strong and keep them together. And I think that's really important in a world like Westeros for that family.
All right. The family that dies together bonds together.
Yes.
And we'll finish up with Ben.
Well, the best TV family that I had to look up of so far what I watch in my life, but if you like a good and creepy family, I would have to choose the Addams Family. And I guess there was a lot of funny things. I mean, especially when they're close and they try to be friendly to you, people would always find them creepy and gooky, especially around their home surroundings. Where Wednesday described it, it's nice and gloomy, especially where there's a two-headed turtle, and they have alive plants in their own home. Like, oh my God. Anyway, it is from the 1960s and maybe black and white, but there's actually some good plots in some of those episodes, like Uncle Fester trying to find some love, or... Yeah.
All right. So, strong starts for all of our competitors. So let's get straight into the 5-minute forum. So, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, like, the Starks are great and all, but, like, they kind of fell apart pretty quickly in the show. I mean, yeah, they had that family dynamic in the beginning, but siblings didn't really get along all that well. And
but what siblings do, realistically? Bart and Lisa argue all the time,
which
right?
is true, but, the Simpsons, they always stick together. They always come together to solve problems, and by the end of every episode, they've always resolved their issues. I don't even think half the Starks ever resolved their issues because half of them are dead.
Died. But definitely the ones that have come back have sort of tried to sort of redeem themselves and sort of come back to each other and stuff. So like Sansa and Arya, they're definitely closer than they were before. And I think them being apart for so long has built their relationship together because they've learned a lot of things on their own, and now the girls and John and Bran can all come together and be stronger than they were before.
But if we're talking, strong family bonds, the Simpsons have been around for going on 30 years now. They've got some of the strongest bonds in television history, and they've got a very recognizable family dynamic. All the characters are super fleshed out. And
let's hear about the Addams Family in this all.
Well, if you like some family value shows or any of those family comedy movies, how family members deal with other family member issues, I guess the Addams Family is one of those pioneers for that kind of a plot in the show. Hey, the Addams did help a politician run for some sort of politician job, but they always go for the better loser, like Stephen Douglas or that guy who went against Henry Truman. And well, nevertheless, it's one of those pioneers that inspired any other TV family shows like Life in Pieces, The Simpsons, which that's a good show by the way, or let's see what else, or Family Guy.
Okay, so what are your guys' responses to that?
What The Simpsons have done on TV? Everything. They've done everything.
Yeah.
The show has been around so long, you'd be hard-pressed to not think of, hey, have they done this on The Simpsons? They've probably done it. They've probably done it twice.
Yeah.
Because they are so far along now that they're reusing old stories. But what doesn't get old? The family relationships. Because they've always got that strong bond, and they've got a strong bond with their community. Can't necessarily say the Starks have that strong relationship with their community. I think they tend to make people
not
mad.
Not necessarily, because a lot of their community is sort of just horrible people.
Right.
But
right.
What makes them so special is that they can persevere through all of that. And I think what's really important about families, just sort of in general, is how you're able to get through problems. And, they've had problems from day one, even before the main story started. There was wars and stuff beforehand and all this crazy backstory and stuff. And I think that set them up to sort of be a really strong family. There's a quote from the books, I think it's the lone wolf dies, but the pack survives. And when you, in the show, you sort of see them sort of splitting up, and that's when they're at their weakest. But now that they're all together, they're all strong again. And I think that's great.
Half of them are together.
True. The other ones, yeah.
The other ones didn't fare so well.
Yeah. But I mean, they're still a family and they're still hanging out together. So, well, they are now. But I think when you're able to see a family go through so much and you're able to see them sort of come back together and sort of reconnect, and it's rewarding not only for them as characters but for you, because you're like, yeah, I'm so excited to see Sansa and Arya hug again because I haven't seen them in the same scene in about 7 seasons. So it's really nice to see that.
Well, for the Adams family, is the art to it from the show is that, you know, it doesn't matter what you look or what you really do. What matters is if they're friendly, then you could just accept them for who they are. I mean, that's the whole point from the show, besides being creepy and gooky.
Well, strong arguments from everyone. So let's get straight to the 30-second conclusions. We'll start this time with Tiara, then go Ben, and then finish up with Dean.
Okay. So overall, the Stark family, they have gone through a lot of things that have definitely probably set them back, and maybe they don't have, you know, the strong mother and father anymore. But Jon and Sansa are like sort of the leaders at this point of the family, and they sort of keep things together, and I'm really excited to see what they do next because I think they're just a really great family.
All right. Ben?
The Adams Family is probably one of the most funniest shows that I've ever seen, especially when the family was being so progressive among people, but people just don't see it. They just want to live, especially from that one crooked politician that didn't want their help, but you know, they decided to help him because, they're funny.
Good show. And we'll finish up with Dean.
I mean, you know, The Simpsons are the archetype that every other TV family is based on now. There have been shows before, but The Simpsons started as a parody of the early 80s sitcoms, and they've now become their own archetype. Every other family since then has been based on their model. So everybody can see a little bit of themselves in The Simpsons, and they can see a little bit of other TV families in The Simpsons as well.
All right. Any facts to be checked, Nate?
For Dean, he said that The Simpsons is the longest running TV show. It is the longest running scripted TV show, running 30 seasons. And The Simpsons TV show only lasted 2, and Game of Thrones has only lasted 7 so far.
Oh, wow. Okie dokie. So now I have to make my verdict. Sorry, that's my thinking face.
You're okay.
Now I should give my thinking face to that camera. There we go. Okay. So for first place, I'm going to give it to Dean. Second place, Tiara. Third place, Ben. Dean, I'm giving you first place because I think you made a strong argument that The Simpsons has both had the cultural impact and also the just kind of the family bond. Like, no matter what happens to The Simpsons, you know that next week at the same time they're going to be together. They're going to work things out. And it's just and it's kind of the every family. You got the working dad, you got the mom who has to put up with Homer's all of his problems, and you got the bickering siblings, but there's still that family bond that is so iconic and has lasted for 30 seasons now. Tiara, I think you've made a strong case for the values of the Starks, that they really do value like family cooperation and family strength over selfishness and individual gain. And I think you made a good case in that the Watchers also get involved in the family dynamic of the Starks, and they kind of get pulled into the family itself. And then Ben, you made a strong case that the Addams family was like kind of the prototype for like this family structure, and they do have strong values. Addams Family values. Oh, anybody see that coming? But I think it's just, it was hit in the overall cultural impact. Though the Addams Family is still recognizable, their last show was what? Like the show was 70 some, no, not quite 70, 60 some years ago, 60 some years ago. And it's just, I feel like when thinking of other families, for recent viewers, Addams Family probably doesn't hit top of the list as much as it used to. Debatable. Debatable. But to reiterate, first place is Dean, second place Tiara, and third place is Ben. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Cardinal Film Fights. I am your host, Mark Rollins. Be sure to hit our subscribe and like buttons on the YouTube, and hit our like, follow, Instagram, follow all of our social media. We also have Twitter and Facebook, I am told. So yes, thank you for tuning in to this episode of Cardinal Film Fights. Have a great day, evening, morning, whatever time you're watching this, really.